So, friends, Donald Trump just went on record saying he doesn't know if, as President of the United States, he has to uphold the Constitution. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Donald Trump is now telling the American people that he doesn't know if, as president, he has to uphold the U.S. Constitution. You know, in a rational United States of America, one with two honest, honorable, law-abiding political parties that respected both the Constitution and the constituents they represent, Donald Trump would be removed from the presidency via impeachment by the House of Representatives and conviction in a Senate trial. Because a statement like that from a United States president, I don't know that I have to uphold the Constitution. You know, that's like the icing on the high crimes and misdemeanors cake. Let's start with the new reporting. This from NBC News. Headline: Trump asked if he has to uphold the Constitution, says, I don't know. And that article begins. President Donald Trump argued in an interview with NBC News Meet the Press that fulfilling his ambitious campaign promise to rapidly carry out mass deportations may take precedence over giving immigrants the right to due process under the Constitution as required by courts. A central part of Trump's agenda has been implementing the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, as he vowed during the 2024 campaign. In service of that goal, his administration has pressed the courts to allow the immediate removal of immigrants it accuses of being members of a Venezuelan gang without giving them a chance to plead their case before a judge. In an interview last month with Meet the Press, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said, yes, of course, when asked whether every person in the United States is entitled to due process. Trump, however, isn't so sure. Quote, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, Trump replied when asked by Meet the Press moderator Kristen Walker whether he agreed with Rubio. His comments came during a wide-ranging interview at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, which aired Sunday. The Constitution's Fifth Amendment says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. It does not say that person must be a U.S. citizen, and the Supreme Court has long recognized that non-citizens have certain basic rights. Trump has also said that while we always have to obey the laws, he would like to see some homegrown criminals sent to El Salvador as well, a proposal that was widely panned by legal experts. When Welker tried to point out what the Fifth Amendment said, Trump suggested that such a process would slow him down too much. Quote, I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials, he said. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it, he added. And this from Welker, quote, but even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president? Welker asked. Quote, I don't know, Trump replied. I have to respond by saying, again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court has already made it clear to the Trump administration in 3 different recent decisions that the Trump administration, has to allow basic due process rights for immigrants based on the long-standing understanding of the laws. And friends, even though the Supreme Court recently ruled in the Abrego, 9-0, clean sweep, all Supreme Court justices agreed in the Abrego Garcia case that illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants get due process rights under the Constitution. This is not new Supreme Court precedent. This is not breaking news. It's not a recent development because back in 1953, the Supreme Court ruled in Shaughnessy versus the United States. It is true that aliens who have once passed through our gates, even illegally, may be expelled only after proceedings conforming to traditional standards of fairness encompassed in due process of law. That was reaffirmed by the Supreme Court in Matthews versus Diaz in 1976. Quote, "There are literally millions of aliens within the jurisdiction of the United States. The Fifth Amendment, as well as the 14th Amendment, protects every one of these persons from deprivation of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." How about 1982's Supreme Court ruling in Plyler versus Doe? Unlawfully present aliens are entitled to both due process and equal protection of the laws under the 14th Amendment. So, no, Donald, you can't deport illegal aliens or undocumented immigrants without honoring their due process rights, their constitutional right to notice of what you intend to do to them and opportunity to be heard in court, to challenge their susceptibility to deportation. And one other thing, with respect to your alleged confusion about whether you as President of the United States have to uphold the Constitution, I don't think you were absent on the day you took the oath of office, an oath prescribed by the Constitution, which reads, quote, "I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." Now, I don't know, Donald. Maybe it's the "to the best of my ability" part of the oath that you're struggling with. Because I would venture a guess that both U.S. and world consensus is that you don't have what it takes. You don't have the ability to serve the people of the United States honestly and honorably. And you sure don't have the ability to act constitutionally. Indeed, judges left, right, and center, including lots of Republican-appointed judges, have ruled that your executive orders are unconstitutional, sometimes blatantly so. So you clearly don't have the ability to uphold the Constitution. And at some point, the Republicans in Congress are going to have to cross the aisle to save democracy. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.